welcome inside the end zone, everybody, here at Port City Body Shop. Jacob Toby alongside former OSU safety Deion Imade. A couple weeks off. We're back. We're going to start with your OSU Cowboys. How are we feeling this week, sir?
It's been a rough week.
It's been a rough week.
I think you know that. Why would you ask me leading questions like that?
Just trying to get into conversation here, sir. Okay, so let's talk about the loss to Baylor, 45-27, the final score over the weekend on Saturday on homecoming weekend.
Yeah.
Tough loss. What do you think's happened to OSU since their big win versus K-State a couple weeks ago?
I mean, it's been a number of things. I mean, as you can expect, the football season is a long time, a long duration, and things can, go up and go down. But for this team, it's been a number of things. I mean, first of all, with a young, inexperienced team, the thing that you got to be concerned about, especially as a fan base, is the inconsistency. You just don't know what you're going to get week to week. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, a team that's young, that's youthful, that doesn't have a lot of experience. And because of that, they're hurting in main parts of the game, especially from the quarterback position. The thing about Spencer Sanders right now is when he makes mistakes, they are big mistakes that change the course of a game. And right now, he's got to clean up on these turnovers. That's the main thing as far as offensively for these guys. He's got to clean up on these turnovers. I want to say there's a stat for the last 5 games, he has 14 turnovers. That's way too many to be giving up to a Big 12 offense to give them more opportunities to get on the field. And not only that, his offensive line, they're not looking as well as we would have hoped they would look by this time in the season. And it's just as far as injuries. I mean, you know this. I mean, offensive lines, they are one unit. They gel together, they play, they communicate, and they get used to each other. And because of that right now, you're seeing a lot of inconsistencies because you've had to replace and plug and pull and put players in different opportunities and different positions. And it's just been a rough going because of that offensively.
Yeah, I think for me, it all starts with the quarterback. And you had said, the interceptions are high. They are high. 10 in the last 3 losses, not great. And some of the decision-making he's made is just, you can somewhat tell that he's a freshman, but we're in game 7 or whatever it is. And, it's time to start getting up there in terms of feeling more comfortable, especially in terms of having a relationship with Mike Gundy, former quarterback at Oklahoma State. Some of the throws that he's made were just outright awful, right? Yeah. Some of them, you can kind of see where he was going with. But Spencer Sanders is at, I think, the top of the list of why there have been so many struggles. You mentioned the offensive line, new O-line coach, Charlie Dickey coming over from K-State. That's still getting a little bit used to in terms of the players, getting used to his style and how they do things. But they're also 99th in total defense. So it's really all aspects of the game are just not panning out. And I think when you take such an emotional loss, like you did at Texas Tech, it sort of derails you. Like, we're going to talk about TU later on in the show, and, the SMU loss killed them, right? So this Texas Tech loss is sort of having the same effect on a young team.
I mean, think about it. When you're OSU and you're the Cowboys, you are used to beating the Red Raiders. You're used to going down to Lubbock and taking care of business and making things happen. And with that loss, it's kind of, even with the bye week, it wasn't enough for them to overcome. And you mentioned there was some turnovers that happened and some plays and some throws that were really bad for Spencer Sanders. And I thought for the first half of the game, he played pretty well. I mean, the deep balls looked good. It looked like they had that red zone issue, fixed and solved, where they were throwing that deep ball to Jordan McRae over the corner of the end zone, the 6'6" wide receiver who's tall, physical, and can get up and jump and really high point the football. And then in the last play almost to last play of the half, he throws an interception in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
They do a good job of they ran the football on second down, put the ball where they could align to kick it, and then they give Spencer Sanders one more opportunity to get 6 points, and he throws an interception. The one thing that you could not have in that play, he doesn't. That's something that a young quarterback has to learn and improve from, but those mistakes are so costly, especially in the conference that we're playing in.
And he also had 2 fumbles.
Yeah.
And you can't turn the ball over.
You got to take care of the football.
You got to take care of the football. That's like the number one thing. They're -9 in turnovers. Only Rutgers has a worse turnover margin than Oklahoma State does in the country. Rutgers is god-awful. So it's not going in the right direction.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defense, especially if going in the wrong direction. That secondary has to do a better job in the open field. Now, you got this. It's the same thing with the offensive line here, where the defensive line is young, they're inexperienced, they're missing some guys with injury, and because of that, they're suffering from it. You're not getting so much pressure in the backfield and, putting these quarterbacks under duress. But the thing is, the secondary was the unit that we were going to have to key on this year. And right now, they're not doing a great job of it in the open field. I mean, they do a good job in run support. They come up and they make some plays. But in the open field, these long touchdowns, these big play opportunities that some of these offenses are getting, they cannot happen.
Yeah, I had pegged this game as a win. I mean, yes, Baylor was ranked, coming in 6-0.
Tremendous
but
speed.
It's homecoming.
Yes, man.
But it's homecoming, and what a good spot for Mike Gundy's Cowboys to sort of right the ship. You're coming off a loss, a couple losses rather. Like, this would be the perfect spot to sort of fight back, and it just didn't happen. Now 9 losses in the last 17 games. A lot of scrutiny for head coach Mike Gundy. Some of it warranted, some of it not. People questioning whether he's still 100% in, still buying into the system. He talked about it in his press conference yesterday, saying how he came into work at 3:30 or 4:30 or whatever it was in the morning because he couldn't sleep, because he really still cares about the program. I know, will defend Mike Gundy and how hard he works and how much he cares about this program.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a situation where it's rough for me to see.
Of course.
During, with social media and, in the media, on TV, fans voicing their opinion about their disapproval of what's going on with the program. It's not like Mike Gundy is going out of his way to try to lose games. I mean, who does that? But it's a situation where as a Cowboy fan base, you're in a small window right now where you have a young team. But like football goes, and you see this trend, young teams and young players turn into experienced teams and experienced players. Right now, this is going to be a rough season. I mean, there's still a lot left to play. They still have a lot to play for, but it's going to be
I don't think it has to be a rough rest to the season, if I can say that correctly. It doesn't have to be. But again, the next 3 games, number 23, Iowa State, they're a 10-point underdog. TCU, Kansas. Kansas almost beat Texas, so who knows what that game's going to be. So
that's not a gimme anymore.
No, that's not a gimme. TCU, but Iowa State's a really, really tough opponent. If they get that win, that sort of turns everything around. But the 2 out of 3 games, that is pretty tough. So it may end up being a rough season, but it didn't have to be a rough season going into it.
I think
and people expected it not to be a rough season.
And that was the expectations, but I think everybody's optimistic when the season's about to start. I mean, that's why everybody loves the beginning of football season. Everybody has a chance to be something.
You're right.
But I think you're right. If they go out here to Ames this week, and beat an Iowa State team that's, pretty much up there as far as Big 12 conferences, I mean, they still have a chance to make it to the Big 12 championship game. If they go over there and beat them on their home fields, and then these next couple of games seem like games that they can be a part of, they can be in, they can win. I mean, West Virginia, TCU, and then Kansas. Those are 3 games that they could possibly get a win, and that could turn that season around. But right now, it's not looking so good for the Cowboys.
If they lose to Iowa State this weekend, they will be 0-6 in the last 2 years against Iowa State, Texas Tech, and Baylor. What has changed about this program in the last couple of years, in your opinion?
I think it's just a situation where you had Whedon, then you had, JW, then you had Mason Rudolph. And now you're going to a situation where you had, Cornelius for 1 year, and now you're starting a freshman quarterback. I think the quarterback position is very essential in college football. As much as people, think the position is a prima donna spot and there's too much attention paid to it. There's attention paid to it for a specific reason, because it's very important. Right now we're going to a situation where we have an unexperienced guy playing that position in the last 2 years.
Do you think Mike Gundy should have put in Drew Brown at the end of the Baylor game?
I don't think you can do that. I mean, first of all, Drew Brown is a good player. I think he showed some things versus when he was in Hawaii, but there's a reason why they started Spencer Sanders at the beginning of this year. Not to mention there is an issue with Drew Brown's hand, and there's an injury issue right there. So I think that does come into play a little bit about if you throw him out there or not. But right now, I think Spencer Sanders is your guy, and there's still a lot of football to be played in the rest of the season. I think if you take out Spencer Sanders, a young quarterback that he is, you take away some of that confidence, and he's looking over his shoulder for the rest of the year. Like, if I make a mistake, are they going to take me out? Are they going to take me out? So I think you keep with him, you ride with him, you hope he learns, grows, and evolves, and this team gets better.
I like what I heard from him post game. In the past couple post games, he's acknowledged that he's turned the ball over. He's acknowledged that he's not played his best football, but I think he's a good kid. He's a hard worker. I think he's going to try to overcome this, and it seems that he has the right mindset going into what will be another tough game in Iowa State.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens with your Cowboys. Hopefully they get back on track again. They're playing Iowa State this week in Ames. We'll see how that plays out. When we come back, we'll talk Sooners. The Sooner Schooner. It flipped over. Did you see it?
Of course I saw. Who didn't see
We're going to replay that for you. We'll have a little discussion on that and their play as well right here on the Endzone after the break.
Other wireless companies need 4-page brochures to explain plans that are too complicated and cost way too much. We are not like the others. We are Bravado Wireless. We offer one line of unlimited talk, text, and 4G LTE data for only $40 per month, with no minimum number of lines and no hidden fees. This is your year to be bold, connect fast at the best price. We live where you live, and we are proud to be a part of your community here in Eastern Oklahoma. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Hi, we're Bravado Wireless. You may have seen us at your local events and wondered just exactly what we do. We provide the highest quality cell phone service, specializing in outstanding coverage, both locally and nationwide. We're headquartered right here in Oklahoma, with multiple store locations in Eastern Oklahoma. We provide the most affordable, unlimited talk, text, and data plans available. For a limited time, our unlimited plan is only $40 a month, and you can receive a free LG K30. Make sure you stop in now and enjoy our other amazing summer deals before they end. Visit Bravado Wireless store locations for all other details, or go to bravadowireless.com for more information. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
All right, welcome back inside Port City Body Shop. Jacob Toby, Deion, Imade. We'll talk Sooners against West Virginia in a second, but first, the Sooner Schooner flipped over. Did you see it? Let's start rolling the video. Let's talk about what we're seeing here, because it was probably the leading video in college football over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that you don't want to happen. Something that tends to happen. I mean, everybody does a little, touchdown celebration, some kind of tradition for their team and for their university. This time, the Sooner Schooner does take a nice little tumble there, and fortunately, everybody was all right from what I heard. It was
just wild. I was in the press box. I was there on Saturday, looking down at my papers. I never watched the touchdown celebration just because I've seen it a million times already. And
as much as they score.
As much as they score. And I hear the crowd just like go, and I look down and it's just like it is right now, how they're picking it up. Like, it was just demolished. They said there was a weight distribution issue. I think too many people were sitting on one side. So some people are saying, no more horses on the field, no more of this. I think they're going to just outlaw people being in the back of it and just have the riders up front and that's it. No one in the back.
Yeah, it just seems like that happens every year. I might be mistaken, but I swear some guy was hanging out the back last year. Something always seems to go wrong with that thing.
But that was the only thing that went wrong in terms of the Sooner football atmosphere.
True.
On Saturday. They handle West Virginia 54-14, the final there. What was the most impressive aspect for you? You had Jalen Hurts balling out, continuing his Heisman campaign, the defense playing well once again, and then special teams got in there with a punt block. To you, what was the biggest thing you saw in that game?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm a little biased. I mean, former defensive back, but I thought the performance of the secondary was the most impressive part. I mean, shout out to, Trey Brown and
Tulsa native.
Tulsa native, and then also Patrick, the former safety for Union. He did a great job as well. As soon as I turned on the TV to, check out what was going on over there, Trey Brown, 2 back-to-back pass breakups. So, I mean, as far as their performance and what they did, it was very impressive. But, I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there. They were playing a former teammate, West Virginia's quarterback.
Austin Kendall.
Austin Kendall. He was out there. So maybe a familiar, quarterback back there, somebody that they kind of had a beat on, somebody they played against a lot in practice the year before, a couple of years before. So maybe that was the little saving grace there. But still, they've strung together a couple of good weeks defensively.
Defense was good, but they still didn't get a turnover. Their third straight game without a turnover. Alex Grinch, defensive coordinator, again, unhappy about it post-game. Kenneth Murray, their defensive guy, unhappy about it post-game. These guys want turnovers. They want 2 a game. That's their goal coming into the season. They didn't get them. That's an issue. Still, they're learning how to get those. But I think the most impressive thing for me was this guy right here, Jalen Hurts. Absolutely phenomenal. Second best pass. Actually, it was the best pass efficiency rating in college football this year. And when you just dive into some of the numbers Hurts is having and Hurts is producing this year, last season Kyler Murray set an FBS record with 11.6 yards per play. Hurts is at 13.5 yards per play. He's second in rushing yards per carry. Regardless of running back, quarterback, wide receiver, anybody taking a snap and carrying it, he's second in the country at almost 8.5 yards per carry. He's got a 226.1 pass efficiency rating. The FBS record is 199. He's blowing that out of the water. Again, competition has not been great, but when you take a look at the stats, it's undeniable how impactful he's been for the Sooners this season, and he's just continuing his Heisman campaign with the work he's put in, the mindset that he's put in. There's some weird quotes that he says, weird things that come out of his mind, but at the same time, like he's focused, he's ready to go, and he continues to lead the Sooners to another win.
And he continues to post these,
and he's working out
post-game workout pictures. But from everything you just listed off right there, I believe those are Heisman numbers right there. That's a guy who
they are. And Tua got hurt, so take Tua out. I mean, how long is he going to be out, right? Like,
it sounds like he had surgery yesterday or was it Sunday? I believe. So that means he's going to be out for a little while just to get him healed up and rested. And because of that, I mean, those numbers will drop because of it. You're going to miss games, and it could, slide him out of that Heisman picture just a little bit, move them out of that playoff spot just a little bit as well. Because think about it. If Georgia goes on and, they did have suffer a defeat, a little upset there, but if they come back and they come back
South
and
Carolina,
only have one loss, and then LSU continues to play the way they're playing, they still got to face Alabama as well, and both of those teams end up in the SEC championship game, Alabama could find themselves out of the playoffs here.
Yeah, that would be good news for OU because, of course, they didn't beat Bama last year. I feel like it might come down to Clemson versus OU, which is another interesting discussion if Alabama continues to win.
Well, the word is Lawrence isn't looking as good as he did last year, and that's been kind of the complaint. But
that's why they almost lost to North Carolina, and they went to overtime. Another cool stat I want to read off here. Jalen Hurts, the only QB since 1996 to record more than 3 pass efficiency ratings higher than 245. He's done it 5 times in 7 games.
I mean, it's
the numbers he continues to put up are just tremendous numbers that are rivaling Kyler Murray, that are bettering Baker Mayfield numbers. Like, people are starting to compare him. Obviously, the passer, he's not that kind of passer. but he's still getting better each game.
Yeah.
And he's still carrying the Sooners to wins like the rest of the guys did.
And the thing is, you gotta put this guy up there. He has Lincoln Riley.
Oh.
That guy is a big asset to have as a quarterback and as a guy who's going for the Heisman.
Do you see any hiccups versus K-State next week at all?
No, not at all. I mean, K-State, they
come on, the Wildcats can't put up a little fight.
They're physical.
Bro.
They do things the right way, but I don't think they have the athletes nor the firepower to match up with this OU team.
We'll see what happens. Let's talk TU now. Another tough loss. This time to the Bearcats of Cincinnati. They were ranked 21 going into this game. Golden Hurricane still lead the nation in penalties. They had 11 per game so far this season. What kind of place is this Tulsa football program in right now? Because to me, it's not a great one.
It's not, and again, this is a team that is offensively, they're young in some tough spots. I mean, you got to remember that offensive line is not the most experienced bunch. You still have, Zach Smith, who's not playing his best football right now, coming off a season where he was, kind of a redshirt year for him. So this team has to improve as they go along. And not to mention, they've gone through a gauntlet of a schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to remember they played Michigan State and then Oklahoma State in their non-conference.
I think they played the second hardest schedule in the FBS.
They flew after a road game to Michigan State. They flew to San Jose State the next week, and then they had to play Oklahoma State. That's a tough schedule to go through.
Oh, yeah.
Your legs are dead by the time you get to halfway through the season. And then not only that, they're playing in a conference where they have a number of teams that are in the top 25. The team that they just played right now, the defense played well, but the offense just didn't do enough to get them that victory. And they're still a top 25 team. And not to mention this week, they're playing Memphis. Guess what they're ranked right now?
In the top 25.
They're not in the top 25.
Oh, they're not? I thought they were.
They're 26th, though.
Oh, they're 26th.
They're 26th.
I'm sorry, 26th.
And I don't. Maybe a new rankings has come out and that's changed a little bit. But they are playing some tough opponents week in and week out. I mean, you can see. This offensive line is not doing a great job of keeping Zach Smith upright and healthy. And when Zach Smith does have a little bit of time to get the ball out of his hands, it's not accurate. And the wide receivers aren't helping him because when the ball does touch their hands, they're dropping passes. So it's been rough.
It's been really rough. 124th out of 130 teams in sacks allowed. Not great. This team, if they lose 2 more games, no bowl game. No bowl game. And I've seen some of the guys after the game say, why can't we win out? Why can't we? Well, the schedule, it's not great.
It really isn't.
You have Memphis next. You continue on in the American. It's this really strong conference. It's a young team. It's especially a young offensive line. Head coach Philip Montgomery saying, I think we're really close. That may be true, but close sometimes isn't good enough necessarily.
And here's the thing, they have the defense where they can play with anybody.
Yep.
But I think, like you said earlier in the program, that loss to SMU where they were up 30-9 and they come back and lose in 3 overtimes. Not only was that tough on the body and on the legs of these young men, but that was demoralizing as a victory I've seen in a while. And the next week they come back and they have to play Navy. I was at that game. That team looked like they had been through a rough go of it, and it's rough. It's hard to see, but this is football. This is Division I football. Sometimes when whoever puts those schedules together, they gotta help them out.
Yeah, it's just human nature, right? Like when you take such a devastating loss to SMU, it's so hard to respond because
get yourself back up.
My Lord, we had a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter. We gave it up, couldn't win in overtime with a chance at a field goal to win it. We still couldn't win it. Like that has to hurt, especially 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old dudes, 22-year-old kids.
Exactly.
Like that has to hurt. It would hurt me. It would hurt you. We're human. So
exactly.
They are in a tough place right now. Their schedule does not favor them the rest of the way. And in the last 2 years, this program 7-24 since 2017. They're 7-24. Montgomery, he has another year on his contract. I'm not saying they should let him go, but there's definitely pressure on him. The program is putting pressure on him to win, and it is time to put together a season like you had in 2016, where you went to a bowl game. This this team should go to a bowl game. They got Zach Smith at quarterback. He's pretty decent. And the defense is good enough to play with almost anybody, definitely everybody on their schedule. You know, they handled Michigan State relatively well for what they could have done against the top 25 team. So it's time to put some W's on the board, or else someone's going to be asking some serious questions.
And here's the thing. With those serious questions, I do believe that Coach Montgomery should get another opportunity, another run at this, just because of the schedule and what they've seen this year. But like you said, the pressure is on. The pressure is on.
And the pressure is on for us to take another break real quick. Did you like that segue?
That was great, man. A pro.
Yeah, you know. When we come back, a little NFL, a little high school football as well. Keep it with us right here on the End Zone.
Big wireless companies keep getting bigger and bigger, but their coverage where you live is still small. At Bravado Wireless, we provide the best unlimited talk, text, and data for only $40 a month, right here in Eastern Oklahoma. You deserve to connect fast to your family, friends, and colleagues, wherever they are, with no interruptions and no excuses. Don't buy into big. Go bold. Go Bravado. Visit bravadowireless.com or visit one of our stores, where we make it easy to join our family. Bravado Wireless. We believe in the power of connection.
You are called to be bold, to connect in your home, to your community, and to the world. From your land, we are Bravado Wireless. We are your high-speed internet provider based right here in Eastern Oklahoma. With the latest technology, we offer coverage in more underserved areas than ever, with 4G LTE speeds and no installation needed. We're faster and more reliable than the competition, and at $59.99 a month, we're more affordable too. Bravado Wireless. We believe in the power of connection.
Back inside Port City Body Shop, Jacob Toby, Deion, Imade. Time for our alumni segment from Oklahoma, or they played in Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, TU. What do you got for me this week, sir?
Well, this week I went with a very unusual kind of shout out here. It's going to go to Dane Evans, the former quarterback for the TU Golden Hurricanes.
Okay. Where does he play, though?
Tulsa. He plays in the Canadian Football League. Yes, the Canadian Football League. Dane Evans, starting quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They are having a tremendous season, putting up video game numbers, putting up big-time plays like he did for the Golden Hurricanes back in his day with Montgomery and all those great teams that TU had back in the day. This week he went 32 of 41, 452 yards and 1 touchdown, doing a great job representing Tulsa down there in Canada.
Yeah, he actually took over the starting job due to injury. So he was the backup quarterback in Hamilton, and now he's the starting quarterback. Their guy will not come back the rest of the way. I think he tore his ACL. So it's Dane Evans' team, and there's been a lot of support for him back here in Tulsa. You see the guys tweeting out about him, and Philip Montgomery was asked a little bit, I think a week or two ago, about him, and he was really happy about his performance. So good to see there for Dane Evans. My guy, former Jinx quarterback who now plays at Drake, Ian Corwin. He's been lighting it up as of late. Ian Corwin for the Drake Bulldogs, 2019 season. They were off last week, but overall, his 2019 season, 60% pass completion, almost 1,200 yards. He's got 12 TDs. Last week versus Butler in a win, he was 25 of 32, 265 yards, 3 TDs. This is video of him at Jinx. Just because Drake's video department, it's tough to get video from them, but here he is with Drake. But yeah, so he was really good at Jinx, obviously took him to a couple championship final games, and a great leader. I got to know him a little bit after interviewing him, and so he's done really well. So a couple different choices we had this week. We gotta divvy it up from the NFL, you know?
Yeah, we can't go give the NFL all our love. I mean,
there's some good football all around.
Yeah, got to give the shout out so everybody doing well.
For sure. All right, we'll talk high school football coming up next after we take a short break.
You are called to be bold. You have a right to the best wireless service, high-speed internet, and customer service at a price you can feel good about. At Bravado Wireless, we know this, and that's why we put you and your community first. We are owned and operated right here in Eastern Oklahoma. We live where you live. We proudly connect you to your family, friends, and business partners wherever they are. Dallas, Seattle, Taipei, Toronto, and anywhere else in the world. We are Bravado Wireless. We believe in the power of connection.
Ignoring calls from your in-laws?
Nope.
That's a bold move. Ignoring other carriers and switching to Bravado?
Again?
Now that's a bolder move.
Hey, Karen. Sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm going through a...
Get $500 off any new phone when you sign up for the Premium Unlimited plan from Bravado.
You're right behind me?
Visit your nearest store today. Bravado Wireless. Experience the power of connection.
Preview.
All right, welcome back. High school football time, sir. Top 5 plays of the season so far. Bravado Wireless getting out there broadcasting lots of high school football with you on the call. What you got for me, number 5?
Number 5, we go with, the Ida Bell Warriors and their man, the head guy over there, Radavius Goldston. Yeah, almost tripped up right there.
Hey,
but
don't trip up. He didn't trip.
He didn't trip. It was a long touchdown pass to Corbin Cooper for the TD pass.
All right, Metro Christian Patriots. Asher Link, the quarterback, TD pass to Carson Calloway. He gone. Callaway to the end zone for the touchdown. They beat Chelsea 42-0 this past week. They're 7-0 this season.
Yeah, number 3, you follow Ironheads. Who is that? Nick Jones throws a touchdown pass to Khalil Durir, doing it big over there in not Ida Bell, Eufaula.
Hey, Eufaula, 6-1 this season. Shout out them. Back to Metro Christian, and I believe it's another Metro Christian play. Yeah, a touchdown by Asher Link there. Nicely done. No, this is Asher Link. We had a little replay over there. Asher Link's going to scramble himself all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. I believe this was 80 yards. Again, the Metro Christian Patriots 7-0 so far this season. Last time out, they beat Chelsea 42-0. Asher Link, one of the best QBs in this state. I've got to know him a little bit with my time with Channel 2 interviewing him, and he's a good kid, really good quarterback, really talented guy.
And number 1 this week, number 2 on your roster, Jacob Barrett takes a kickoff all the way to the house for the touchdown for the Shakota Wildcats. It was actually a pitch reverse. They threw it back to him. Jacob Barrett doing all the moves and all the shaking. Nobody can touch him. And he's been one of the most impressive athletes I've seen playing the quarterback position and playing safety. Also had 2 interceptions.
Two-way guy.
2 interceptions this week. So impressive athlete, Jacob Barrett. Keep it up, man.
Nicely done. All right, you're on the call next. 4A ball, Hilldale and Fort Gibson. What do you got for me? Battle of the Rock, they call it.
Battle of the Rock, one of the biggest rivalries in the state.
Yeah.
I am going to be so thrilled to see some great football for Fort Gibson and Hilldale. I'm excited. Friday Night Lights, rivalry football. What better matchup could you ask for?
You couldn't really ask for much better. Hilldale last time out, 48-0 win versus Muldrow. Fort Gibson last time out, 4-point loss at Sallisaw. Last words from you, sir, before we get on out of here. We're going to hop in that car right there. You see that nice car?
That nice
We're going to hop in
there.
that and drive out of here. Last words.
OSU, got to have a bounce back, strong performance in Ames. OU, stay on track, get Jalen Hurts that Heisman. And TU, good luck.
Nicely done, sir. That is former OSU Cowboy Deion Imade. I'm Jacob Toby. Thank you so much to our entire Bravado Wireless crew. Catch him on the call. Hilldale versus Fort Gibson. BravadoWireless.com. That'll do it here on the End Zone. See you later.